Warning, there will be spoilers for the end of Rebirth in this video. What's going on, guys? I'm Joshua Thomas, and I think I have enough evidence to determine just who this person is. I mean, you guys know that she's Aerith, but the big question at the end of Rebirth is, what exactly is going on with her? Is she herself? Just a manifestation from the live stream? Is she just a figment of Cloud's broken imagination or his broken mind? Or is she something more sinister, like Maximilian Dude may have hinted at when he first analyzed the ending of the video? And now I don't know if he has changed his opinion on this, but I don't think that he's right on that. And I refrained from making this video for so long because it took me so long, and I thought to myself, surely this has been solved by now. But no, I think there are still some misinformation going on out there, not intentional, just misdirected misinformation or misdirected information. So what is the evidence, and who do I think this is? I think most of it points towards it being Omni Aerith, the all-knowing Aerith, the Aerith who is in the live stream, who knows what's going on, and who has decided to play Sephiroth's game against him. So we're going to go through the ending scenes in Rebirth and pick it apart and figure out what's going on there. And we're going to start off with the music when Aerith first appears after the final battle is over with.
I'll see you off.
So we look here, everybody's sad, we don't see any Aerith, and then Cloud has this memory hit, this headache, and then he sees her. Now, I understand these headaches generally have to do with him hallucinating, but then again, they also have to do with when Sephiroth is manipulating him. And this, does point in the direction that maybe this is Jenova, but there's also evidence that it's not Jenova, and I'll get into that as well. Nevertheless, the music at this point, many people suggested that there was some kind of Jenova motif in there, or that the eerie music represented Jenova, and that couldn't be further from the truth. In fact, listen to this music. This music appears multiple times throughout Rebirth, at least the dun 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 tune does. Now, the underlying melody that's going on there, maybe that's what people thought was a part of a Jenova theme, but I listened to the Jenova themes that are in Rebirth, and I could not find a point in any of the Jenova songs that had that same melody to it. So I think we're dealing with either a unique melody here or a melody from one of the other songs in Rebirth. So let's look at where this song, or where this tune also appears. I mean, it appears here. And here. And even in this scene.
Mom? Dad?
Tifa! Over here!
And it also appears at the very beginning of Rebirth. So yeah, we get this tune, and it comes in at many different points. It most often seems to align with something involving the live stream, we notice that this tune pops up anytime we enter a Mako Spring. This tune pops up when Tifa is in the live stream, and this tune pops up when Aerith is first learning to harness the live stream and use it to her will. So the music that we're hearing here when we see Aerith for the first time, even though it's kind of in this eerie setting, it's not Jenova. It's just not her. And if you're still thinking to yourself, but they said that Jenova will take on the appearance of those we hate, those we love, those who change our underwear, whatever. But there are a few ways that Jenova acts that simply does not coincide with the Aerith that we see here at the end of the game. You see, Aerith only appears to Cloud. And while he may have Jenova cells within him, it's not Jenova's MO to just appear to one person. In fact, all throughout the history of Jenova being on this planet, she always appears to everyone. And in Rebirth, she only ever appears to anyone who happens to be within her vicinity, not just people with Jenova cells. So this simply isn't how Jenova acts. This is not some kind of Jenova version of Aerith. But that doesn't mean that it couldn't be some kind of Sephiroth manipulation. I'll leave that open to you in a comment. Let me know what you think. And if someone out there knows more about the music than I do, maybe someone knows of a good video breakdown by many of the composers who like to, break down the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth music. I love watching those, but I haven't seen one that breaks those particular notes down. So now we go to the final scene with the whole party around the tiny Bronco making the finishing touches on it. And I've talked about this before, but there is this strange interaction where Aerith first appears, where the tiny Bronco puffs out some exhaust and it startles everyone except for her. And if you look closely, you'll also notice that it doesn't affect her dress either. It's like she's there, but she's not affected by the elements around her. And we'll talk about that again, because this does sort of indicate that maybe we are dealing with two different Aeriths, and which two Aeriths we're dealing with, that's the big question here. So if we go further along, we'll notice that Red 13 senses her as well. And many people may knock this up as him just saying Aerith at that particular moment. I think it's more than just a coincidence, and the way that he says it implies that he is feeling something. It's a question mark at the end of his sentence, which states that he's like, I feel like Aerith's here with me right now.
Aerith?
We also hear music that indicates that it is Aerith, such as her melody, very low in the background as she is walking around to her different friends. And then also at the very end, No Promises to Keep plays, which is, it's Aerith's song. This is one of the things that Square Enix does quite well. They help tell their stories with music. And I can't help but just go along with the music here and say, listen to the music. The music has the answers. And I know many of you would argue that that is Square Enix's way of fooling us, like having the Jenova cells working on us as the player. But I'm going to go out and say here that no, the music represents what the music represents, and No Promises to Keep represents Aerith. Now, it's also argued at the end of the scene with Aerith, where everyone's getting the tiny Bronco and Cloud is left talking to her alone, that she just constantly repeats the same lines that she has said before in the past, like she's on some sort of audio recording. But let's just watch this real quick and see for ourselves. That's right, it's time to play the game. She never said that.
Don't worry. It's like a second home.
No, she never said that.
Then I'll send up smoke.
She said something similar to that.
I'll put everything I've got into my prayers.
No, she never said that. Nope.
I'll stop the meteor.
Didn't say that either.
And I'll leave the rest to you. Good luck.
Nope, she never said that. So you see there are actually many lines in which Aerith says at the very ending where she's just kind of picking with Cloud, and they're different. They haven't been said in Remake or Rebirth, even though there are, yes, a few lines that she says that are extremely similar or spot on with things that she said earlier in the story. There are also phrases that she says that are completely brand new. She also suggests when she says it's like a second home to me, it's not like what she said in the Shinra building about it's like going back to her childhood home. No, she's saying a second home. And I do believe she means the life stream. The life stream is like a new home for her because she is Cetra and she can survive in the life stream, whereas regular souls like Cloud or Jessie and Biggs and Wedge would just slowly dissolve. She is able to remain whole. Now, you also might be saying, well, why is she here in the first place? This seems really kind of sketchy. It seems like something that Sephiroth would be doing. But remember, Aerith at the end of Rebirth has learned to play Sephiroth's games against him. As Omni Aerith, she has learned that, hey, wait a second. If he can do that, I can do that too. I'm going to get into Cloud's head. I'm going to help him combat Sephiroth. I'm going to appear to him while he's conscious. I'm going to tell him things that he needs to hear in order to help himself. Whereas Sephiroth was telling him things that he wanted Cloud to hear in order to break him. So Aerith at the end of Rebirth is playing Sephiroth's game, and that is why we see her at the end saying things that she's saying. And the final note here is there was this talk that there was this red glimmer in Aerith's eyes at the very end when she was talking to Cloud. And that was, once again, I think from Maximilian Dude or one of his commenters. And for some reason, they went along with it. I don't know, but I investigated the very end scenes, and there are no red glows in Aerith's eyes. You can see it right here. Her eyes are her own bluish green eyes. There's nothing off about them. Finally, the last nail in the coffin about it possibly being Jenova and possibly even being Sephiroth is that the tiny Bronco flies off and she's still there. If this was Jenova, if this was Sephiroth, there would be absolutely no reason for her to remain, to watch her friends fly off into the distance, knowing that this was the last time she was going to see many of them or talk to many of them ever. This would have been just, she would have just poofed into non-existence if this was Jenova. She would have poofed into non-existence if she was just a hallucination of Cloud. But she stands there, watches them as her music is playing. It's Aerith watching her friends depart at the very end of Rebirth. So yeah, I'm leaning towards her being Omni Aerith. What we're seeing at the end here is mostly Omni Aerith, but could also be a hint of hallucination Aerith, the Aerith that only exists in Cloud's mind. Because remember, we talked about the dress. Her dress doesn't interact with the environment here, but when she's talking to Cloud at the end and the tiny Bronco spools up its rotors, her dress does interact with the wind. And this is one cutscene, all the same. It's not like they used different rendering engines to render that one scene as opposed to the very end scene. It's all the same scene. So one has a dress interaction and the other doesn't. But there's one other thing that I will say, and this may explain it away as well. So if Cloud is over sitting on a hilltop and Aerith is over behind the tiny Bronco, the exhaust goes out, Cloud's not there to feel it, therefore Cloud doesn't view her as also sensing it, and therefore she reacts the way that she does. And at the very end, Cloud does feel the rotor wash from the tiny Bronco and therefore views Aerith as also feeling the rotor wash from the tiny Bronco. Well, that's my evidence right there. Those are my explanations. I hope you enjoyed those. I hope you will leave a comment below letting me know what you think. And once again, if you have some song breakdown videos that I should watch, just leave who the YouTube channel is, or the name of that video, or the name of the song, because I think links are disabled in my comments. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you will check out more Final Fantasy content on the Failroad Express.
Walking city streets with worn cobblestones, listening to people rushing past to rhythms all their own.
Goodbye.